Hello everyone, welcome back. And in today's video we're going to be learning about the structure of a web page. Now, understanding the basic structure of a web page is essential for creating well organized and functional websites. Now, before we begin, I want you to go to your browser and type in example.com and go to the website. Then when the page loads up, I want you to right click on your mouse or your trackpad and click on view page source, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl U. So now when that page loads up, it should show you the code, the HTML code that was written to structure this web page. Now I'm going to be breaking down this code to understand it. Now, every HTML document follows a specific structure. This structure helps browsers understand and display the content correctly. So now, in this page, we can see that there are multiple tags. Now, tags are these elements that we have that are in angle brackets, such as the HTML tag, the head tag, title tag, body, and so on. Now, if you look at this document, you can see that we have a HTML tag here and a second one here. But the difference with these two is that this one doesn't have a forward slash while this one does. And that is because this is known as an opening tag and a closing tag. So most HTML tags have both an opening and a closing tag, such as HTML here, then the head tag, opening and closing, then we have the body, opening and closing. But if we take a look at this document, we can also see that there is a meta tag, and this tag is known as a self-closing tag. Now in HTML there are several self-closing tags, but for this example we are going to be looking at only the meta tag. Now on the first line we can see a declaration here where we have doc type HTML. Now please note that this declaration is not a HTML tag, but it is information to the browser about what document type to expect, and in this scenario it's HTML5. Now on the second line we have the HTML tag. Now the HTML tag is the root element of a HTML web page. All other elements will be nested inside this HTML tag. Now after the HTML tag we have the head tag. Now the head tag is a section that contains meta information about the HTML document, like title, character set, and links to external resources like CSS and JavaScript files. Now in this example we can see that we have the title tag. Now what the title tag does is it sets the title of the web page which appears in the browser tab, which is this text right here, example domain. Now the next thing we have is the meta tags. Now this gives information to the browser about the character set, content type which is HTML, viewport, and so on and so forth. Then after that we have some styling in the head. We will look at this later on. Now after the head tag we have the body tag. Now the body tag is a section of the HTML documents that contains things like text, images, links, and other elements. Now if you go back to this web page, you can see that we have some text here, example domain, then some description text, and a link which takes us to an external website. So all this is contained inside the body tag. So now let's break down the content inside this body tag. Now in the body tag we have the div tag. Now the function of the div tag is to create sections in a HTML web page. Now if you see, the div tag is actually this card that we can see here, and we'll understand how this is being rendered to look like this later on when we explain the CSS part. Then after the div tag, we have a header tag. Now in HTML, we have header tags such as h1, h2, h3, and all the way down to h6. Now this is the main header of the page. Then after this header tag, we have a paragraph tag. Now the paragraph tag is used to display text on a HTML web page. So in the paragraph tag, we have the main description for this web page. Then we have a second paragraph tag containing a hyperlink. Now the A tag is called an anchor tag, and this is used to link different resources on a website together. So this anchor tag is actually linking to an external website, which is why when we click here, we are redirected to iana.org. So now that's basically it for the HTML structure. Now let's move over to the CSS we can see here. Now if you look here, this is not the default background for a HTML web page. In HTML, the default background is white, and if you look at this card here, we can see that it has rounded edges and a box shadow and a defined specific font. So now when we go back and look at this CSS, now this is the style tag, and this tag is used to write CSS inside the HTML document. So now inside this style tag, we have some selectors. Here we're selecting the body. Then inside this body, we now have some styles, some style properties like the background color, which is what is displaying this shade of gray. Then margin, padding, and a font family. So now this font family is what has changed this font from what it looks like in default HTML. Then after the body, we have the div, which is this tag. So now the div now has a set width, then margin, padding, a background color. As you can see, the color code that we have here is different from this, which makes both the body and this card have two distinct colors. Then after the background color, we have a border radius property, which is what makes this have some rounded edges. Then we have the box shadow, which is what gives it this little shadow around. Then we have some styling for the link, such as color and text decoration none, which removes the underline from this link. Then we have a media query here, and in CSS, media queries are used to do some specific styling at a specific screen width. As you can see, we have max width set to 700 pixels. So once our screen size reaches 700 pixels and below, this div will have the margin set to 0 and auto, then the width set to auto. So now we can actually see this styling in effects. If we come here, then you right click and click on inspect. So now if we set this to 699, you can see that we have a different styling here. The card stretches from both ends of the screen, but if we take it up and take it up to 701, you can see that we have the styling which we saw when we initially loaded up. So that's what media queries are used for, to do responsive styling in HTML and make your website not look static. So that's it for this video, and hopefully you've understood what the basic structure of a HTML web page is. In later videos, we are going to be going more in depth into all these tags, and after the HTML section, we're going to be moving on to CSS. So see you in those videos, and bye for now.